Oh, got another one. Oh, got another one.
See,
Right off
meat
of that.
hogging me.
This is a tube fish, just cross. I'm swimming it as if you were, you know, fishing that grub, but I'm dragging it on the bottom. Yeah.
That's a big one there.
Yeah. As the afternoon goes, you know,
Wow,
we get a
that's-
few more of these babies coming in. And you know, one thing that has absolutely always amazed me, all the years we've been doing this. Ooh, is she a big gal? Look at this. The thing that amazes me is how quickly some of the fish in the population, how shallow some of these big brown bass will get, and how quick they'll be there. I've had them up in shallow water 4 to 5 days after ice out. Big brownies like this, obviously that's got nothing to do with spawning. Yeah, you know, and at the same time, like we're out here now, there is some deep water fish. You know, they're not all up on the flats. But the amazing thing is how shallow some of these fish are. You said I think the ice has been off here 12 days now, and we're catching a number, you know, of fish like this, in as shallow as about 3 feet of water, like 3 to 6 feet of water. Just incredible. And I'm saying that because it happens on a lot of lakes, not only the lakes that we're fishing here. We see that quite a bit. You know, and the interesting thing is always remember, not all the fish in a lake are doing the same thing, you know, at the same time. There is some deep water fish. There's some drop shot fish out off of these ledges a little bit deeper now. There's some roller jig fish. There's some, his hair jig will produce some fish in deeper water. But it's kind of fun to get these shallow fish like this. Amazing how shallow they will get, especially in a day like this with a little bit of sun in the afternoon.
Right now the water's relatively dark, the water's relatively cold, the fish are just coming up in spring. So their strike zone is relatively small at this particular time. You know, I'm taking this little 16th ounce VMC hair jig, just pitching it out in back of the boat or out away from the boat and just sort of twitching it. And it's moving very, very slow. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you know, throughout the summer months in a real clear water lake and on the Great Lakes, I know for a fact that smallmouth bass will travel, you know, 25 foot to hit a bait. So it gives you the range of how you have to use your varying lures in your tackle box to trigger one of these fish into biting. You know, their strike zone can really change dramatically throughout the course of the season.
The feeding mood of all fish can change dramatically on a daily, weekly, and seasonal basis. For consistent success, your lure selection has to be in tune with their feeding mood. Today we're fishing sluggish fish, just moving in from deep wintering areas to shallow flats, where they will eventually spawn in the next couple of weeks. Slow and subtle seems to be the ticket for the day. Slow-moving tubes, grubs, and hair jigs are good options anytime you're fishing for inactive smallmouths with a small strike zone. For aggressive fish with a large strike zone, minnow baits like X-Wraps, spinner baits, crankbaits, and rattle baits come into play. Speed and erratic behavior is a great way to trigger strikes when fish are willing to move fast and far to feed. Oop, there's one now. Topwater like X-Pops and X-Props have a time and place. For bottom bouncing in deep water, drop shotting and football heads come into play. Angling success seasonally is all about lots of choices and experimentation. The key is to read the conditions and let the fish tell you what they want.
It's really fun, that hair jig. It's sort of interesting, you know. You get a rod like this and it's such a subtle presentation, and a lot of people, you know, bass anglers don't understand the power of hair jigging. At certain times it's almost amazing on how good it can be, and you could be fishing, when these fish get really negative, the smallmouths can be very, very tough to catch. You know, with largemouth bass, if you know right where they're at, you dead stick a tube, you can catch them. And for smallmouth bass, a tube, that isn't subtle enough. When they're really inactive, boy, it's hard to beat a little hair jig. Hey, I'm serious, it's a really hard to beat. A little tiny little hair jig, just moving really, really slow, twitching it. You just flip it out in back of the boat. It's a relatively simple bait to fish. You know, there's a couple of different ways to fish a